Today we're going to talk about how to use one of these. Now if you don't know what it is or you don't have one, this simple tool can save you a lot of money when you're doing club work. So let's go. Hi everyone, it's AJ the Mobile Club Maker. Thanks for watching. As always, if you enjoy the video, please like it, share it, or subscribe to the channel. So I titled this video today, Golf Grip Removal for Reuse. And what we're talking about there is trying to save golf grips. All the other videos I've done up to this point, I've been just cutting the grips off with a utility knife, cutting the old grip off, tossing it. Now if you've got old grips, of course that's what you want to do, but in a lot of cases when you're doing club work, you may have grips that aren't old. They may be new, they may be close to new, and there's no reason to just cut them off and get rid of them if you have an opportunity to save them. You know, grips have gotten to the point where they're, over $10 a piece, so if you re-grip a set of clubs, it's over $100. If you can save those grips, you can save a good bit of money. Now, there's any number of reasons why you may need to do this. Say you want to lengthen your clubs or shorten your clubs. You'd have to take the grips off to do that in most cases. And if you can save the grips, all the better. Or let's say you wanted to change the thickness of the grip. Say the grip felt a little bit small. You can take the grip off, build it up, put the grip back on. Or say you've got an adjustable hosel club, an adjustable hosel driver or fairway wood, and you change the settings on it a little bit so that now all of a sudden that grip that had been straight up and down is now slightly crooked. And you want to get that back to straight up and down again. All these, yes, you could go and just cut the old grip off, throw it away, buy a new one and put it on. But if the grip is new or close to new, why not try and save it? So there's many different ways that you can try and get golf grips off. There's little syringe type needles that you can stick into the grips and squeeze in grip solvent that way. You can try and use compressed air, some people like that. But for me, I like the good old-fashioned grip removal tool that looks like this. Basically a handle on one end and a long flat blade on the other end. These will run you around $20 to buy one. You can just search online for golf grip removal tool or something like that, and you'll have any number of tools come up that look basically like this. Okay, so I've watched quite a few videos on this online just to see what other people try to do, and for the most part, they make it look a little more complicated probably than it needs to be. So I'm going to show you what I think is the simplest way to go through the process, the easiest way that'll give you the best chance of success. Okay, so before I start the process, I'm just going to give you two simple tips that I would recommend before starting the process. One of which being, you want to do this somewhere warm. You want the grips to be warm, you want the solvent to be warm. Now that can mean doing it when the weather's warm, or it can just mean doing it indoors if it's cold outside. You're going to have a better chance of saving the grips if everything is at least room temperature. Everything will work better, the rubber's more pliable, the tape comes loose a little easier. So that would be the first thing. The second thing is just take your time. Don't force it. If you force it, you're going to have a much greater chance of ripping the grip, poking a hole in it, something like that. So take your time. Now that being said, there are certain grips, cord grips, and grips that have some sort of interior lining like a wind grip or something like that, that can cause a few more difficulties. They're going to be a little harder to get off. That is definitely going to be one I would say you want to make sure they're warm and take your time. But even best case scenario, you may not be able to save every one of those just because of the way they're made. It makes the process a little trickier. So that being said, what we're going to do today is just a standard rubber lambkin crossline grip. This is basically a new grip I put on, I don't know, a couple months ago, but I haven't really used the club much, so it's basically brand new. So we're going to take that off. So first step, we've got what tools we're going to need, which are one, our grip removal tool. We've got some grip solvent, and I like to use a drip pan just like I would use if I was re-gripping golf clubs. Again, we can use this solvent, use as much as we want, catch it in the pan and put it back in the bottle. It doesn't go bad. It's not a one and done type thing. You can reuse grip solvent, mineral spirits, whatever, over and over and over again. So why waste it? Go ahead, put a pan down and collect it. Also, it just makes it neater if you want to do this in your, living room or something like that. There's no reason you can't, as long as you have something to catch it in. So here's the process very simply. We're going to take the golf club. I like to stand it up. I know I've seen some videos and some people like to do it in a vise, laying flat, but I think this is the easiest way to do it. It lets gravity help us. And what we're going to do is we set it in the pan upright like this. Go ahead and just sort of work a little edge of it a little bit loose like that. Just enough so we can take the blade of our grip remover and just kind of fit it just inside, just like that. One more thing I'll say, I've seen it done two different ways. Some people will put the grip remover in like this with the little handle sitting away from the shaft. And I've also seen some people put it like this, where the grip remover handle is actually closer to the shaft. Personally, I think it's better to go this direction. It keeps the blade closer to the shaft, less stretching as you move down, as opposed to like this, where it's going to stretch the grip out further. So I always go this way. Keeps everything a little tighter. That way you're less likely to tear or stretch out the grip. So we pull it out a little bit, just enough to get the very tip of this kind of in there. At that point, I'll just kind of hold it like that, get a little bit of our solvent, and just kind of squeeze it into that little space there between the two. It doesn't take too much. At that point, we can just start rotating the golf club, either twisting the shaft or twisting the head, and just start rotating it and gently just applying pressure to the grip removal tool. You can see I'm barely pushing down on the tool, just sort of using the weight of my arm to move it down as I rotate the shaft. I'll go a few turns in one direction. If it seems a little tough, I might turn it and go the other direction a few turns. Once I get about a third of the way down, I want to go ahead and put some more grip solvent, mineral spirits, into that space between the grip removal tool and the shaft. And then just same thing, I'm just going to keep working it down. Again, I'm just rotating the shaft and just putting gentle pressure on the grip removal tool. I'm not forcing it, just letting it kind of do its thing, letting the solvent work on the glue on the tape and break that up. Just like this. You can see we're basically about 2 inches from the end. I'm going to go just a little bit further to about 2 inches, 1.5 inches. At that point, I'm going to change my method just slightly. I'm going to stop pushing down on the grip removal tool, and I'm actually going to start rotating and pulling up on the shaft instead. Again, I'll put just a tiny bit more solvent in there, and at this point, like I said, I'm just going to start lifting the shaft and keeping the grip removal tool stable. And at a certain point, you'll hear it loosen up, and the shaft and tape will kind of make a little popping sound. At that point, you can just kind of wiggle it back and forth or keep rotating it, pop it out like that. And there you go. Grip perfectly saved, no holes, no issues, not stretched out, perfectly reusable. You can wash this off with a little light soap and water, or just wipe it down. It'll dry, the solvent will basically evaporate, and it should be ready to go. So there's the whole process, start to finish. It's very simple. I would just say take your time and make sure the grips and the solvent are warm. If you do those two things, it's very simple to get most grips off. Again, some grips are going to put up more of a fight if they're corded or if they have an interior lining, but for your standard rubber style grip, it's a very simple process if it's a relatively new grip to get it off, save it, and be able to reuse it. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, if you did, please like it, share it, or subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I will see you next time. Thanks.